Imagine driving a taxi for 14 hours a day, earning just enough to pay rent, while watching the city's richest people sit in the back seat, giving orders, making deals, and living the life you always wanted. Now imagine one of those taxi drivers, tired, broke, and completely invisible to the world, suddenly, creating a tech idea that would change his life forever. This is the unbelievable real-life journey of Omar Reed, the taxi driver who became a tech millionaire. Omar Reed never planned to become a millionaire. In fact, he never planned to become anything special at all. Born in a small neighborhood in Newark, New Jersey, his childhood was simple and quiet. His father worked at a repair shop. His mother cleaned houses, and money was always tight. But even in those early days, Omar had one thing most people around him didn't: curiosity. He was the kind of kid who asked too many questions, took apart radios just to see how they worked, and stared for hours at old computers, in the school lab even, though he barely understood them. But curiosity doesn't pay bills. When Omar turned 19, his father lost his job. The pressure of rent, groceries, and medical bills suddenly fell on Omar's shoulders. College wasn't an option anymore. Dreams weren't an option anymore. He needed fast money, and the quickest thing he could do was drive. So he became a taxi driver. For most people, taxi driving is an in-between job, something you do while waiting for life to start. But for Omar, it became his life. Early mornings, late nights, endless highways, long waits at airports, and the constant feeling of being replaceable. He wasn't building a future. He was surviving one day at a time. Yet something unexpected happened. Every day, people from different backgrounds sat in his taxi. Entrepreneurs, business owners, marketers, developers, investors, even frustrated employees complaining about their bosses. Omar listened. Really listened. He learned how people thought, what frustrated them, what problems they struggled with, and what opportunities existed in the world outside his small apartment. He didn't know it then, but those conversations were shaping something inside him, a kind of street MBA. One cold November night, Omar picked up a passenger who would unknowingly change his life. The man was a young startup founder, stressed, late for a meeting, and talking nonstop on the phone. He kept complaining that he couldn't find a fast, simple scheduling system for his remote team. Everything was complicated. Everything felt slow. Omar kept driving, listening quietly. When the call ended, the founder sighed and said, "Man, I swear, whoever builds a simple scheduling tool that actually works will become a millionaire." A joke, a random sentence, said by a stranger. But it kicked open a door in Omar's mind. That night, after finishing his shift, Omar sat in his tiny apartment searching the internet. He Googled how to build a software tool, learning to code, free programming, resources, and beginner apps. He didn't understand most of what he read, but he didn't stop. Something inside him had awakened, a dream he didn't even know he still had. Every day after driving taxi shifts, he spent 1 to 2 hours learning basic coding, free courses, YouTube tutorials, old programming forums. He didn't have talent. He didn't have guidance, but he had something stronger than both: desperation. Months passed. He failed constantly. His computer crashed. Code didn't work. He felt stupid, but he never stopped. Slowly, painfully, he built his first version of a scheduling tool. It was clumsy, basic, and honestly a little ugly. But it worked, and that was enough. However, Omar now faced his biggest problem. He had no money for marketing, no money for ads, no money to promote anything. So he tried one last crazy idea. He built a tiny website and added a small message at the bottom: built by a taxi driver who wants to change his life. If this tool helped you, share it. He went to sleep with zero expectations. The next morning, his email exploded with messages. A popular blogger had discovered the tool, used it, liked it, and wrote an article titled, "A taxi driver just built the scheduling tool we needed." The article spread like wildfire. People visited the website. Companies tried the tool. Users shared the story everywhere. Omar's life was changing faster than he could understand. Within a month, 20,000 people had signed up. Within 3 months, small companies started asking for a paid version. Omar panicked. He didn't even know how to create a paid version. But success waits for no one. So he upgraded the tool, added features, improved the design, and launched Reed Schedule Pro. The first week, 50 sales, then 200, then 1,000. He made more money in a week than he made in 6 months of driving taxis. But money wasn't the real turning point. The real turning point came the day he received a message from a large tech investment firm. They wanted a meeting. They wanted to know who the mysterious taxi developer was. They wanted to help him scale the product worldwide. Omar walked into that meeting wearing his only clean shirt, nervous out of his mind. But when he explained his story, the room went silent. Investors were stunned, not by the software, but by the man who built it. A self-taught developer, a driver who listened, a fighter who refused to give up. They offered him a deal that changed everything. Within a year, Reed Schedule became one of the fastest-growing workflow tools in the country. Companies adopted it. Remote teams loved it. Freelancers recommended it. The tool exploded across the tech world. By the end of the next year, Omar wasn't just surviving, he was a millionaire. The same man who once slept in his taxi between shifts. The same man who couldn't afford college. The same man nobody noticed had built something extraordinary. Today, Omar travels the world, speaks at tech conferences, and invests in young developers who remind him of himself. But whenever someone asks, "How did you do it? How did a taxi driver create a tech empire?" Omar always gives the same answer. "I didn't build a company. I built 1 hour a day, 1 line of code a day, 1 small improvement a day. A million-dollar life is built from tiny steps." And that is the lesson of Omar Reed. You don't need money to start. You don't need talent to begin. You don't need approval from anyone. All you need is the courage to take the first small step, and the patience to keep going long after everyone else has stopped.